Hello lovelies, welcome to NARC Free Formula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me. Tonight's episode is about whether or not you're addicted to the narcissist, which is a really interesting topic. And anyone who's kind of been involved with the narcissist, I suppose, knows that that even though we know that they're no good for us, when we're in our situationships with them, we find it really hard to get away, which is kind of what people who are addicted to substances, kind of the same thing, really. Anyhow, look, before we get into it, can I just quickly remind you, if you like my videos, to like them. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you've got anything to say, always please leave it in the comments. All right, darlings, let's get down to it. So it turns out that love and drugs like cocaine, heroin, and amphetamines all have something in common. They all stimulate the brain's reward line. So when you are in the first stages of your situationship with a narcissist, they will deliberately and consciously try and get you as addicted to them as possible. They do it because they know that this is the best way to bond you to them, essentially. They do it because they know that if they can bond you sufficiently to them, that pretty much you'll put up with a whole lot of abuse further on down the track. So the brain in love is, as I said, it's very similar to the brain on drugs. So drugs, just like love, stimulate oxytocin, which is the love hormone, serotonin, which is the happiness hormone, and other endorphins. There was a study, I wrote this down. So the University of Haifa, a study recently done showed that oxytocin triggers and amplifies social feelings, both good and bad. So essentially, oxytocin exaggerates the mood. So that means that when you're feeling all loved up, oxytocin will exaggerate that loved up feeling. But by the same token, when you're feeling sad, depressed, upset, oxytocin will in turn exaggerate that mood. So this kind of feeds into the whole intimate reinforcement with the narcissist. The come here, go away, the I love you, I hate you, the push, pull, when they disappear for a few days, come back, you have amazing sex and great fun, and they apologize and they promise they'll never do it again, and they're so convincing that you feel it and you believe it at the time, and then they do it again. And what happens is all this kind of emotional all these emotions that you're going through has a chemical reaction and response in the body. So over time, you're actually becoming kind of addicted to these chemicals and these hormones that are being released. You're addicted to the reactions. And what happens is, when you finally do get the courage to escape from the narcissist, all of a sudden everything seems really bland. There's none of this extreme emotional reactions. You just feel normal. And the problem is that normal to someone who's just experienced years of narcissistic abuse actually sounds like boring. And so people actually crave the narcissist. They actually want to go and get some more of what ails them. They actually want to go and essentially smell the narcissist pheromones. They want to have the chemical reaction that the narcissist invokes within them. Even if it is the whole fight and flight and, love, hate, backwards and forwards, even if it's all of that, You know, it's still in people's reality. It's still better than the blurkness, the boringness, the nothingness. What's really sad about the whole thing is that none of it's really kind of real. Like it's all just like being on drugs all the time, you know. And as I said, this is why they do it. Like, they know, they're pretty smart, you know. Even if it's something, it's not like they've learned it from a book or something, but you know, they've observed patterns of behavior in people. They see what works. They know how they feel, and they know how other people react and respond. So that's what they work on, and they will keep you addicted to them for as long as they can. Because, as I said, in the long run, it's all about, for the narcissist, it's all about getting them what they want, which is fuel and supply. So if they can keep you chemically addicted to them, then that's what they're going to do. The thing is, how do we get away from them when we feel so addicted to them? This is the problem. I know that in my own personal circumstances, the best thing that I did was create physical space. By actually leaving, then getting legal protections in place so that he couldn't actually come and see me, because otherwise, if I didn't have that, he would have. I mean, even with that, he tried to. That gave me just enough of a kind of a buffer, I suppose. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's oh so easy and that we can, you know, just do it like that. Like, it's hard. It really, really is hard. And you do go through withdrawals. But when you know that that's what's going on, and when you remind yourself that that is exactly what you're going through, drug withdrawals, you know, once you've got your head right, when you actually say, this isn't love, you know, this isn't healthy, this is not love, this is not what love feels like, you know, when you remind yourself of that, it makes the going through the withdrawals so much easier, because you know that at some point it's going to end. You don't know when it's going to end, but you know that at some point it will. So for me, the ending of that kind of chemical addiction, I suppose, really was like breaking free from handcuffs. It's amazing. It's just absolutely 100% amazing, the difference that it makes when you start to see someone for who they really are, without your rose-tinted glasses, without your chemical addictions. And when you can see them for who they are, escaping them is a lot easier. So my suggestions to you, my darlings, are, if you are still with a narcissist, realize that you need physical proximity. You need to be away from them, being around them, being in their space, smelling them. If you know, all of that stuff keeps you kind of chemically addicted to the pheromones, their scents. You know, you can't even smell the scents. But on a kind of biochemical level, you can. So getting away from them is the first step. Secondly, getting rid of the smells of them is also another really big step. So make sure you change all your bed linen, you know, get rid of any of his clothes that are lying around, any of that stuff, because that all has his own kind of unique chemical signature, I suppose. The most important thing is stay away from them. You know, you will set yourself back if you think, you know, that you can just have a chat with them, have a coffee with them. Because, you know, one of the first things they'll do is try and hug you, because they know. And sure enough, you know, I hadn't seen mine for 3 months. What was the first thing that he did? Big bear hug, holding me really tight, like his life depended on it, actually. You know, and why? Because he wanted to get me back on the line again, wanted to get me addicted. Knows that that kind of stuff works. So get rid of that smell, stay away from them, and for your future plans, future moving on forward, just know that you're going to put yourself at risk if you decide to be in their physical proximity, if you decide to hug them, touch them, You know, or for those of you who are thinking, you know, oh, but the sex was really good, so maybe we can just have sex occasionally. Like, you're kidding yourself. Really, darling, you're just absolutely kidding yourself. You will never get away from him if you're, you know, if you are at his beck and call, essentially, if you are having sex with him when he wants. That is probably one of the worst things that you can do to yourself, and that is continue to lie to yourself. You know, they've lied to us for such a long time. It's time for you to get real, be honest, and just hold yourself accountable. You know, there's like 8 billion people in the world. You know, I'm sure you can find someone that you find sexually attractive, that you feel compatible with. You know, you don't need to keep going back to the same thing because you think that that is the person that you love. Because in actuality, like I said, you're just addicted to them. And they did it all on purpose. Anyhow, darlings, that's the end of it. It's been a long day. School holidays have started, and yeah, it's been a long day. All right, lovelies, thank you for watching, and I will see you not tomorrow but the day after.